Hey y'all, thanks for coming back to watch another video. I really do appreciate it. Appreciate everybody leaving comments and hitting the like button. That really helps. If you're new and you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. Go to notifications, click the bell, hit all. Alright, so I got to tell a story this week because I'm going to be going on a camping trip this weekend for a dayer. And I'm going to have a lot of camping videos, archery videos, things like that coming, so I figured I'd do a story video. So I'm going to tell a story about bow hunting up in Rebels Cove Conservation Area, far northwest corner of the state of Missouri. So if you want to hear the story about my snow blizzard archery hunt up in Rebels Cove Conservation Area, stick through the intro. Let's go.
There I was, back in the wild again.
Alright y'all, I hope you stuck through the intro. This story is about going on a bow hunt with a friend of mine that I worked with, that I went on a lot of hunts with. He's the one that I was elk hunting with during 9/11 in Colorado. So anyways, we went on a lot of bow hunts together when I wasn't bow hunting with my roommates and my best friends. We went to Rebels Cove. So we would go to the conservation area because me and him done trap lines together for a couple years too. And we would go to the conservation department to get our otters and bobcats tagged, and there's a bookshelf in there that's just loaded with conservation maps. So we started going through these conservation maps looking for good bow hunting conservation areas for bow hunting, and we found quite a few and hunted every map we pulled. We went and hunted at one of them places. But Rebels Cove was a pretty rememberable hunt because we knew there was a chance of snow, but you know how the weather goes, and the weather guy and all that, even 20 years ago, they wasn't that accurate, you guys. We knew there was a chance of snow. We knew it was going to be cold. We'd never been there before, so we were, just kind of winging it. And on the way up there, it starts snowing, and it starts snowing heavy. Well, by the time we get there, it's snowing so hard, there's like no visibility. You cannot see probably more than 5-10 foot max in front of the truck. So it was like a snow blizzard. Closest thing I ever came to seeing a snow blizzard anyway. Well, we got there. Of course we had the maps, so we could look at the map and see where all the campsites were and the road to get into the campsite and all that. So it's dark too, by the way. By the time we get there, it's dark and we're just hunting the weekend. We find the camping spot we want to use, and we notice at every campsite there's stacks of firewood. Like, conservation department come out there and cut up a bunch of dead and fallen trees and actually split and stacked firewood at all these campsites, I guess for deer hunting, deer season. Deer hunters, I don't know, but it was pretty nice. We had all the wood we needed, but this wood is covered in snow now. And when we find the campsite, there's at least a foot of snow, maybe more than that. I'm thinking it was more than a foot. And so we still had to build a fire, put up our tents. We can't sleep in the cab of the truck. Well, we could have, but probably wouldn't have been very comfortable. So we've got to get a camp set up. It's dark and we don't have a fire. Now, it's weird that we didn't have lighters because normally we had lighters, and I don't know why neither one of us had a lighter, but we didn't have a lighter. All we had was these matches, and they were matches that were in his ashtray, and there was maybe 3 or 4. I can't remember exactly how many matches. There wasn't very many, and so we got to start a fire with this. And he's got some trash in the floorboard from McDonald's on the way up there. We've got our McDonald's bag, so we've got some paper right there, quite a bit of it, and most of it's got grease on it, so it's going to burn pretty good. What we do is he starts clearing snow out for our tents, and I go walking around finding cedar trees and going up under the cedar tree and just breaking all the dead branches off from underneath them cedar trees. So I got a big old handful of cedar branches when I come back, and we take the paper and all the cedar, and we've got some firewood that we pulled off the stack, and we split it up to where it's a little bit smaller, because now we've got all of our gear out. We don't have our tent set up yet, but everything's out. We got a spot cleared out. We got a spot cleared out for the fire. Now when we start this fire, it was little. We started it real little first, because it's still snowing. Okay, and I'm talking big snowflakes. It's still snowing. So we've got to build this fire, but keep the snow from putting it out. So I've got to hover over this fire. So I'm going to make it little so it doesn't burn me up and smoke me out, right? Okay, so so I'm going to make a little fire. We're going to build it up as we go. So we get the paper and we crunch it all up and put the cedar around it, and I'm over the top of it, and I light a match, and it lights and it starts to burn, and as soon as I move down to put it under the wood into the paper, it goes out. So anyways, we'll skip the other 2 matches, same thing. So now we're down to 1 match, and it's like, you know, do or die. We gotta get her done or we're sleeping in the truck. So now I'm all the way over the kindling pile. I've got the match. I didn't pull it out of the matchbook. I just folded it over, because I'm going to use the matchbook to help block the wind, because I've already made that mistake 3 times. Or is it this way? 3 times. So now I'm going to strike it from behind and let the match come up. The matchbook's going to block the wind, and I'm going to have it right down by the paper when I strike it. So I get it down there, strike it, boom, it lights. The match kind of folds up, flips up from being folded over. The book match is blocking the wind, lights the fire. Boom, I throw the matchbook and everything on there. So we get this little fire going, and we build it up. Well, we get our tent set up, and we were both using just regular A-frame pup tents, 1 or 2 man pup tents. And we get them set up and get our sleeping bags, and we go to bed. When we wake up the next day, I don't know what had happened, if it was from the fire or if it was from body heat in the tent. I don't know what happened, but my tent was full of water. I don't think he dug the snow down to the ground. So a bunch of snow melted under my tent, and I ended up waking up. My sleeping bag was wet. Man, I was wet. My feet was wet because I was kind of on a hill, my feet going downhill naturally. And so the bottom of my tent, or where my feet would go, it was full of water, like a couple inches of water, holding water. I'm like, for one, how did it get in my tent? If my tent shouldn't have leaked and let that much water in, but it did. Anyways, so we get up. Now we've got, both of us have got wet sleeping bags. Some of our clothes got wet because we just threw our duffel bags. These aren't waterproof bags, just duffel bags. Threw them in the tents. They sat in water. So next day, Next morning, I should say, we go grab a bunch of that firewood and we stack it up around one side of our fire and make us a little heat wall, and we just hang our sleeping bags, and everything that got wet we hang off that wood and let it dry. Get our tents emptied out, dig the snow down to the ground, which it was basically melted down to the ground, but not all the way. So I cleared mine out to where everything was down on the ground, staked it in, put snow up around the edges of my tent to help insulate and keep any water from getting in through the bottom again. But after that, the camping part was pretty good. So we get the clothes dried out, everything's dried out, we're going to go hunting that afternoon. Now, I had recently gotten from another co-worker and best friend of mine a pole rigging set up. So his dad used to work for the phone company, and he had the tree spikes and the belt and all that harness and everything for climbing poles, and he gave that to me. So my plan was I was going to use that to climb a tree, find me a big tree, climb up a tree, and just sit on a limb and bow hunt. And so that's what I did. That evening, me and him both went out scouting because we'd never been out there before, and luckily because the snow, tracking was pretty easy. So right away both of us found a couple deer paths or trails where the deer had just been beaten through the snow all night. So I found me a big tree, and I climbed up in the tree for that afternoon, and this tree had a limb on it this big, and it was only about 12 foot off the ground. It was perfect. Great big old red oak. Might have been a white oak. Actually, I think it was a great big white oak. Anyways, I climbed up it and got on that big fat limb, and I just sat there all day. Didn't see nothing I could hunt, but I saw a possum, no turkeys, no deer. Because now during bow season, we can hunt turkey and deer. Now, we was seeing turkey tracks in the snow too. I did, and I'm pretty sure he said he's seen some turkey tracks as well. I'm certain of it. So, we knew that the game that we were after was there. We just had to be there when they come through. And I climbed down from the tree, and I get back to the camp, and he's at the camp, and I'm telling him about the tree that I found and climbed up in, and it's right up on a ridge, and I could see down both sides, and right down the middle of the ridge. I mean, it was a nice tree to be sitting in. And I told him about that, and he tells me about all the tracks he's seen, and he found him a good spot for the next morning too. So, we've established our new hunting spots that we believe will be productive. Once we found our hunting spots, we're going to cook us something to eat and sit around and practice turkey calling and stuff like that, right? Now, you don't really want to be practicing your calls at night in the same area you're going to be hunting, because it can actually confuse the wildlife, right? But we wasn't doing it real loud or anything. We was keeping it quiet. No deer calls. But we did have some hoot owl calls. And so I wasn't very good at using my hoot owl call, and I wanted to practice using it. And the guy I'm with, he had used them before, so he knew how to use it, and he's going to show me how to do it. And so we get our hoot owl calls out, and he's showing me, he's hooting, and then I'm trying to hoot, and we're just hooting back and forth. It's a couple of hooters sitting around a campfire. But anyways, all jokes aside, we're practicing this. Well, then we hear another owl hoot at us, and we both was like, oh man, we're calling in owls, right? Like it was cool, which it was cool, but it was pretty cool that we called an owl in. But the thing is, the owl that we called in was a ginormous barn owl. Now, is it barn owl or barned owl? Either way, you guys know what I'm talking about. And it was huge. This thing flew in from behind us, right over the top of our heads, right over the campfire, flew up. So our campfire, we got a big old tree where we set up our camp, right? So we're sitting on the campfire on this side, the tree's on the other side, our tents are on each side of that tree. This thing swoops up into a limb right on the tree, lands, and is staring right at us. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Me and this guy both was like, whoa. Didn't know what to do, right? Like, are we under attack? Or is this thing just curious? Look how freaking big that thing is. It was a big one, you guys, a big owl. I had never, only one time. I had only seen an owl that big one time, and that was at Shell Knob, Shell Osage Conservation Area, and that was a giant owl there too. But that was actually in a barn with an owl nest set up by the conservation department for bird watchers, and man, that was cool. I got to see that during a bow hunt. But this owl was not used to people, I don't believe. And he was looking for a date. He was definitely looking for a fight or looking for a date. And needless to say, me and my buddy, we just kind of put our hoot owl calls up real slow, like watching the owl while we were doing it, making sure we didn't scare them, make them want to swoop down and grab one of us and scalp us, because I'm telling y'all, they will. So you got to be careful. Anyways, the owl actually hangs out for a while. We just start talking again, the owl just hangs out there, and then it finally flies away. So the next day we get up, Saturday morning. We get up, and it's not even daylight. We get our stuff. I go my way, he goes his way. I get to my tree, I climb the tree, I'm sitting up in the tree. Daylight hits, it's starting to get daylight. You know, I could see enough to where if anything walked out, I could tell you what it was. It wasn't all the way daylight. Let's say dawn. Okay? So it's dawn. And I'm sitting there thinking, any minute, a deer's gonna walk up. And then I hear something crunching through the snow. And I'm thinking, man, it's kind of loud for a deer, you know what I mean? So I thought, well, maybe it's a bunch of turkeys. So I grab my bow and I'm getting ready and I'm looking around and I'm trying to figure out where this sound I'm hearing is coming from, and then I've realized it's coming straight from the ridge right in front of me, but it's kind of brushy. There's some cedar trees, it's not wide open, and whatever it is staying hidden. It's not coming out in the open. And then, I don't know, about 30, maybe 25, 30 yards, boom, a guy pops out. I'm like, dang it. Got all jacked up for nothing. It was some other bow hunter out there trying to find him a spot to hunt. So he walks up and he sees me sitting on that limb, and it don't take long. He sees the climbing spikes on my feet and the big harness and safety harness I got on. He said, did you climb up there at that pole rigging gear? I said, yeah. He said, boy, that's a good idea. He said, that's a good tree too. He said, that limb's never going to break. It's like, yeah, it's almost big enough to take a nap on. And it was, you guys, it was a big old round branch. It was big. Anyways, me and that guy, we sat there and stood there, because I was sitting in a tree, he was standing on the ground. we just chit-chatted and talked deer hunting, right? And I told him, you know, that I'd never been out there, and that was somewhere that him and his son, they went out there every year and hunted. So he was local. And he told me that I was in a pretty good spot, that that's where he was headed, was over by this tree. He was actually going to go on past me, which he ended up doing. He just went on past me and hunted. So around lunchtime, I climbed down. I head back to camp, eat a little lunch, talk to my buddy a little bit. He hadn't had any luck. We both head out for the evening. So I climb back up in the same tree. I don't see that guy again, because now he knows I'm hunting there. He's making a wide circle to go around me, staying downwind, so he doesn't mess up my hunting spot. And I seen him, and he's just, you know, practicing common courtesy, being respectful, giving me my chance. He's still hunting in his spot, and where I'm hunting is not messing up his spot. So everything was working out there. Well, so around dusk, I hear some turkeys coming. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get turkey, I'm gonna get turkey. So I get in the tree and I'm ready. I'm on the branch. I actually stand up on the branch, and I got my bow at the ready, and here come these turkeys up over this ridge, right up on top of the ridge. I got a perfect shot on one. I draw my bow, steady, aim, shoot, miss. Well, I don't know if you guys ever turkey hunted with a bow, but if you miss, the odds of getting another shot are pretty slim, because they will scatter quick. You might get lucky and have a couple that get confused and don't really know which way to go, and you can pick one of them off maybe. But these turkeys knew what was up, and they all took off, so I missed. So I was like, dang. So I waited till dark, climbed down, go get my arrow, head back to camp. So we're going to leave the next day. So we've got that morning to hunt. We don't practice any hoot owl calls. We don't practice any kind of calling that night. We ate some steaks and some fried potatoes, and we hit the sack. We get up the next morning. I'm not going to climb in that tree, because we're fixing to leave. As soon as we get back, we're going to leave. So I just left all that climbing gear right there, and I'm just going to sit at this tree. And so we go to our respectful hunting places. I'm sitting at my tree. Now our plan is to be back at the truck at noon, and we're going to load up whatever's left unloaded, and we're leaving. So I'm sitting at the tree. I'm thinking, you know, if I don't see something by 9, 10 o'clock, what's the point? You know what I mean? I might as well just walk back. Well, it gets up to around 9:45, 9:50, something like that. I'm pushing myself for that 10 o'clock. Everybody knows big bucks come out 10 to 2, okay? 10 to 2. When everybody's done quit and give up and went back to camp, the bucks are out walking around. I'm telling you, it's real. I've proven it. Anyways, that's a different story. So 10 to 2, so I'm trying to push myself to 10, and maybe on the walk back I'll just take my time and stalk my way back and maybe walk right up on one. So it's 9:50 and I hear something, and it's not very loud, but I hear it coming through the brush, through the cedar trees. I'm thinking, man, it's another hunter, right? And so I don't get real excited at first. I'm just like, whatever. Maybe it's a squirrel, right? Maybe there's a squirrel over there running around. But I'm watching, I'm waiting. And then I think I see what looks like a leg. A deer leg up under a cedar tree. So I get my bow. I get ready. trying to control my breathing. I'm getting jacked up right now. Serious. Oh, I love bow hunting. So, sure enough, it's a buck. And this little buck, he comes stepping out. And I'm like, man. Okay, so, in certain areas in Missouri, especially conservation areas and Mark Twain National Forest, we have point restrictions. And our point restriction up there was 3 points on one side. It has to have at least 3 on one side. And so this was a little forked horn. He just had 2 on each side like that. And he come walking out there, you guys, like he knew he only had 2. Nobody was shooting at that guy. Nobody was flinging arrows at him. And he knew it. And he just, and I think that's why he was making so much noise. He wasn't scared of nothing. He wasn't scared of nothing. Anyways, I watched that fella walk by. And I had a chance, but because of regulations, I didn't do it. I played by the rules. I grabbed my bow because now I'm frustrated. And I just go back to the camp. I get all my stuff loaded up and I'm waiting for my buddy. Well, he comes walking back. He's all breathing heavy. I'm like, what's going on, man? Did you get one? He's like, yeah. He's all bloody. So he shot a big old fat doe. And I'll tell you what, y'all, them deer up northern Missouri, close to Nebraska, are corn fed. And I mean, they've got a lot of fat on them. And she was big. So me and him, we go back to the deer and I help him drag it back to the truck. We get his stuff loaded up, load the deer up. When we would go on hunts like that, we always split everything. That way, if I don't get something, I still get something. And if he misses and don't get nothing, and I do, he still gets something. You know, that's just how me and my friends have always done it. We've always shared the harvest no matter what. And when we was bow hunting a lot and filling a lot of doe tags, helping the conservation department keep the deer population in check, we was actually donating deer to Feed the Harvest. It's a program in the state of Missouri for helping people who can't afford groceries. They get free deer meat. If you're having a hard time, you need to talk to somebody, call a friend, call a family member, call a preacher, find a church to go to, pray to God. Call 988. Them people are really good professionals at helping people get help. Don't never give up. Don't sweat the little stuff. Squatch it if it tries to get big, and keep on keeping on. God bless everybody out there. Peace.